While the construction industry can be dangerous, hazmat work involves serious risks that are present on a day-to-day basis. Proper equipment and precautions must be used to protect the workers at hazardous waste sites. Workers' activities and movements must be carefully controlled. Setting up site control zones reduces worker exposure and public exposure to chemical, physical, biological, and site safety hazards. Hazardous waste sites are divided into at least 3 distinct zones: the exclusion zone, the contamination reduction zone, and the support zone. The contaminated area, called the exclusion zone, is where the work is performed. This zone must be clearly marked by a line, placards, or hazard tape. It can also be physically enclosed by chains, ropes, or fences. Those in the exclusion zone include the field team leader, the work party, and the specialized workers. This zone can be subdivided into different areas based on the type or the degree of the hazard. Different but appropriate personal protective ensembles are used for a more flexible, effective, and less costly operation, while always maintaining a high degree of safety. The level of personal protection required in each sub-area should be specified. Barriers and signs listing the PPE requirements and the hazards must be posted. This prevents a worker from entering a higher hazard area with an ensemble of lesser protection. Workers in the exclusion zone always use the buddy system. It is especially important that every worker at the site is able to recognize and identify hazards if conditions change or worsen. In this case, workers should protect themselves by exiting the zone and report their concerns. Then additional monitoring and instrumentation is done to determine the appropriate action to be taken. The support zone is the uncontaminated area where workers should not be exposed to hazardous conditions. The administrative and command post, equipment and supply centers, the field laboratory, as well as the medical station are located in the support zone. The contamination reduction zone is the transition area between the exclusion zone and the clean support zone. Decontamination procedures take place in a designated area within the CRZ called the Contamination Reduction Corridor. At least 2 specific lines are set up within this area, one for the worker and one for equipment. The degree of contamination in the CRZ decreases as workers move from the exclusion zone to the support zone. The contamination control line is the boundary between the CRZ and the support zone. Access control points, set up at the edge of the exclusion zone, control the flow of workers and equipment into and out of this zone. Checking in at these points helps verify that the proper respiratory protection and PPE are worn. Checking out ensures that thorough decontamination procedures for both workers and equipment are strictly followed. Because possible evacuation routes and procedures are established in advance to handle emergency situations, these access control points assure that workers can be located and evacuated safely. Finally, working with tools and heavy equipment is, in itself, a major hazard at sites. To be sure that safe work practices are always followed, lists of specific standing orders for the exclusion zone and the CRZ must be developed and distributed to everyone at the site. These lists must be posted at the command post and the access control points. The team leader must review these safety orders with the field crew at the beginning of each work day. The site control program is established in the planning stages of a project and modified as new information becomes available. Continuous site monitoring identifies any migration of the hazard, which then could require changing zone boundaries to contain the hazard within the specific zones. While site control is especially important in emergency situations, it is critical to control the day-to-day activities and movements of workers and equipment at every hazardous waste site.